everybody? Welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I am here to review Halloween Kills. Now, this is the sequel to the 2018 sequel. It's confusing for a lot of people. The other Halloween movies that happened this is Halloween, the 2018 Halloween, simply called Halloween, is a direct sequel to the original Halloween, and Halloween Kills is a sequel to that. So in a way, Halloween Kills is the third official movie in the Halloween franchise, because Halloween H2O and Halloween, whatever that one with Busta Rhymes and all those other Halloweens, they're like Season of the Witch, like all that. None of those are real. None of those are canon. Well, they happened, but none of those are canon. So this is the next in the canon Halloween franchise, Halloween Kills. Now I loved about 80% of Halloween, of the 2018 Halloween. It has one of my all-time, and I do mean all-time favorite sequences. There's a sequence, and me and Steph talked about it back when it came out, where Halloween's going down, Michael Myers is back in his mask, and he is going door to door killing people. And the reason that sequence to me was so terrifying and it really hit home and was visceral was just because I know, and I don't live in an area that's, I don't live in an area that's has an abundance of crime going on, at least in the area. There's stuff that happens. Occasionally things happen, of course, like any area. No place is completely sugar gums and lollipops, gumdrops and lollipops, sugar gums, gumdrops and lollipops, and there's stuff happens, and occasionally something happens, a murder, something. Once in a blue moon, I mean, this happens every every few years, something like that happens where I'm at. And I know for a fact that there's a lot of people in my neighborhood, a lot of people, in this area that don't lock their doors. Not all the time. They're a little bit more loose about that. And in my mind, I used to always, my mom, me, I used to always kind of be like, are they fucking nuts? Like, what if someone comes in your house? But I know for a fact that there's a lot of people who don't. A lot of people don't leave doors open. Like, they leave them unlocked because they just, and it's crazy to me, but that does happen quite often. And thinking about that made me go, man, something like that could really happen. There could be and it's Halloween. It's Halloween. You would think someone's trying to play a prank on you. It's someone walking around in a mask, but it's Halloween. He's not like he's doing anything particularly scary. He's walking around very stealthily, not like hiding and ducking, but he's walking around so quietly and stealthily that it would be plausible that if he walked into your house, you probably wouldn't even know about it, especially if you're sitting around waiting for candy, waiting to give out candy to kids. There's weird noises going around because people are using machines and stuff to make weird noises. Everyone's trying to scare each other. It is 100% one of the most plausible horror movie things to me that this dude could literally walk door to door and murder all these people. And it was so terrible because it was it could happen. And it was so and I hate to say this, but as a horror fan, as someone who grew up watching movies like this, courtesy of my aunt, I dug it. I just dug watching that shit, man. I just dug seeing him go door to door like that because it was just that's some realistic, visceral shit. Plus it was good seeing Jamie Lee Curtis come back to play Laurie again. Laurie is obviously the girl from the first movie. I think she was a babysitter. They have a babysitter from the first movie, so it's awesome to see her return. She's returned before in other movies, but the other movies were bad. This is a true return, and she had that whole Terminator. She totally had a Sarah Connor Terminator thing going, where she was just I'm gonna fucking kill this big unkillable thing, and I'm prepared to kill you. She totally had that going for her, but that movie kind of got derailed for me near the tail end with the doctor and whatnot. It didn't make a lick of sense, and while his kills were over the top, and while the more it got to the end, the more weird it got, the more the over the topness kind of just the more old school horror movie it got, which it's not that bad. I don't mind that. But I really did enjoy that Halloween movie. I think I ended up giving it an 8 or a 7 or something like that. I really did end up enjoy a 7.5 or an 8 or something like that. Probably an 8 because I really did enjoy it. There's just some things I didn't like about it. But this one This one, Halloween Kills, I went on that whole thing just to let you guys know how much I enjoyed that first one. This one I do not enjoy as much. Admittedly. There's less Laurie in it. There's less story in it, because the first one had the Halloween 2018 had this backdrop of trauma and a woman dealing with trauma in the Laura character, and her dealing with the fact that she survived this thing and so many other people didn't, and her dealing with that, and her being traumatized and fearful that this man might come back one day, and how that can affect, and how, like, there's a lot of times they do stuff about trauma where it's just affecting the individual, but a lot of Halloween, the 2018 one, was about how trauma on an individual can affect people close to them. How her trauma affected her daughter, and her effect on her daughter affected her daughter's daughter, and it affected people, the way people look at her, and it affected her. She can't live a normal life, and it's made her so hardened and bitter and nasty. And sure, she has a sweet side to her, but it's just how her trauma has just affected her and just hardened her and really ruined how this event they really got into how that event ruined people's lives, how that event 40 years ago really fucked people up. Honestly, Halloween 2018, it could have been, which they weren't going to do that, because who wants to they're not going to sell it off that. It could have been just a drama about these people dealing with what happened to them, and emotionally dealing with that, and never really getting past that, because there was some really good stuff there. All that it's here, but it's not as well done. It's It's almost like it has a sequelitis thing going, where one, Laurie's not in it as much. Two, they sacrificed all the time that they put into really diving into the characters and how they feel about what happened into the kills, which are awesome. That's the saving grace of this film for me, are the kills. The kills are over the top. They are brutal. They are sometimes elaborate. Like, Michael Myers has a very artistic taste. Let's put it to you like that. He really knows how to spice up the Halloween, but and no one's safe. Kids aren't safe, and you never feel like anyone's safe. So Michael Myers, the character, the shape, he's like a land shark in this movie. That's probably the best way to describe him. He's a land shark, just murdering everyone in his path, no matter what, to get to his house, just murdering, just mowing through people. And I mean, he kills more people in this movie than he does in the entirety. And he kills more people in this movie than all of the Halloween movies combined. I'm not shitting you. They go overboard. There's something that happens at the end of the movie, and I don't want to spoil this for you. It's kind of a surprise, but my word, when it happens, you're like, God damn! Like, he is murdering people. I mean, it is some crazy shit that happens in the tail end of this. And like I said, he's just mowing people down. He's a land shark, man. And that aspect of this movie is really cool. But all the character stuff takes a step back. All the hard emotional stuff takes a step back. They introduce other characters who are supposed to be from the original movie, and they really leaned into that. Whereas Halloween 2018, they linked into it. They linked into how it affected everyone. It wasn't like this movie straight up pauses like for a split second to show you an image of the actual person who he used to be back in 1978 when they made the original Halloween. Like, this is the guy from 1978's Halloween. This is the girl from that. This is that. They literally paused the movie multiple times to flash backwards. They have a bunch of flashback sequences which really aren't necessary, because the story, you could just say it. Just say that shit. Just say, hey, I'm that dude from, like it's not necessary to pause the fuck. If it's requirement for people to remember way back to 1978, then you're fucking doing this wrong. And the problem with that too is, not only do they do that, they do it multiple times. And there are lines and whatnot that are repeated multiple times. Play a drinking game. You will die. This is on Peacock, so you probably could go just watch it. I could have just watched it on Peacock if I wanted to. Kind of wish I did for a little bit, but it's okay. Try a drinking game for how many times they say he's evil incarnate. He must die. Evil must die. Just, if you played a drinking game for how many times they've told the story 40 years ago, and dude, that, you would die. If you did a drinking game for how many times they said 40 years ago, you would fucking die. There are lines that are repeated multiple times in this movie. There are logical things that don't make a lick of sense. I'm not even talking about from a horror perspective. I'm talking about from a just logic perspective. Something happens in this movie with an innocent character who dies, and it doesn't make a lick of sense that anyone would even think that that's him, because he looks nothing like him. He's short, for one. He's way shorter than him. He's way smaller than him, and why the fuck would he be running from you? Like that's the thing. I'm like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. A lot of this movie doesn't make any sense. A lot of this movie, things in it don't make a sense. I digress. I could keep going on and babbling about how I feel about this movie. I do think it's a step back. It's a sizable step back, not completely. There is some entertainment to be had in this movie, especially with the kills. I went to go see it in the theaters with my friend Willie and his brother Austin, and we were in a packed theater. Like, it was packed. So, I'm hoping this movie might do pretty good. And in that packed theater, it was fun watching because there is something recently, I've had a movie when I was in Norfolk with my folks. I had a movie night with my uncle and his family, and we were watching a lot of horror movies and old horror movies. I don't like the Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff like that. And I will admit, there's something a bit throwback to this. But it's a throwback to, like, the bad old horror movies. Like some of the Nightmare sequels, some of the some of the Friday the 13th sequels. It harkens back to some of the fucking sequels to the Halloween franchise that weren't so good. Because there is this bit old school vibe to it, to this, because some of the tropes and some of the things, because I don't remember them being this many trope things, like so overt trope things, that in Halloween 2018 that there was in this one, because the tropes and the things that happened in this one were so egregious. It's just like I thought I was watching something from an old horror movie, because I just got done watching old horror movies. So there is something about that I will admit is kind of appealing as a fan of horror and as a guy who's watched all those old horror movies. Like, there is something about it that is a bit nostalgic because of the way they handled it. But overall, it's a step back from the last movie. I still enjoyed myself, so I'm probably going to give it a 7. I'd give it a 7. And that's me being generous. Honestly, it's probably like a 6.5, but I'll give it a 7 because I did walk away enjoying myself. I just felt like it was such a big step back from what I've seen from that other one, you know what I mean? It's not about how many people he kills, it's about how he kills them. And then you let him do because the first one I thought had the perfect balance. They let him kill people. They let him kill people in creative and unique ways. So they split the movie in half between him doing that and Laurie and Laurie Strode. I can never say her name right, but Laurie and her family, and Laurie dealing with the repercussions of what happened 40 years ago, dealing with how the drama and how that weighed on her and how that affected her. Her doing that and the kills. This movie, it was 75% him and the kills, and 25% Laurie and her stuff. And it wasn't enough time to really dive into it, so they rushed a lot of it. They repeated a lot of it. There wasn't enough balance. So anyways, I still enjoyed it. I'd still give it a 7, just because I had fun watching it. So, have you guys seen Halloween Kills? If you have, comment below. Let me know what you thought of the movie. Please remember to subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.